So, good evening, everybody. It is, 3 minutes past 9 on the 15th of November, 2021. We're closing in on the end of the year. It certainly does not mean the year is over. And if you're an actor looking to get shit done by the end of the year, there is still plenty of time left. I was talking to some actors today, and they're looking for their first screen credit, their first TV credit. And I'm like, look, I think in their head, they're thinking it's going to be next year. I'm like, if I was you, I would absolutely be planning on booking that TV credit before Christmas. You've still got 4 weeks. We've got 28 days, really, before the industry will probably start winding down the week before Christmas, to get that in. And it's so doable, guys. It's freaking doable. If you have your sort of like, I guess, your actor's toolkit in, your shop window, if it's in good form, you've got, a decent show reel, your headshots up to date, you've got some good work or self-tapes to show casting directors, and you know which casting directors you want to target for which shows. Preferably when you're starting out, it's going to be serial drama, which ties into something exciting we're doing tomorrow night. You've got time to do it. You've absolutely got time to book a TV role before the end of the year. So don't take your foot off the gas, because I'm seeing people sort of get into that sort of, kind of getting into the Christmas party kind of mode, and I'll just, I'll maybe just sort of work harder next year. There's still time left on the clock, and for those people who put the effort in now, you'll get ahead, because a lot of people are stepping back. Andrea, look at you, said I got an Emmerdale, I can't even speak. Had an Emmerdale audition last week. Well, fingers crossed for that, Andrea. That's what I mean. They'll be casting serial drama. Emmerdale, Corrie, Hollyoaks, Doctors, Holby City, Casualty, EastEnders will be casting probably up until about the 20th of December. So like there are parts for those people who actually want to get out there and get them. So fingers crossed, Andrew, for that one. That'd be amazing. So tonight, what I want to cover quite a lot actually. I want to first do a little recap on a session that we held for members of actonthis.tv. And if you're not a member, after this session, get a membership just for a month if you want to try it out. Let me show you how it will change your career. It'll change everything about the way you approach the industry, your motivation towards it. You become part of a massively tight-knit community of hundreds of actors who all look out for each other, collaborate with each other, support each other. Most of them, you'll see a lot of them on the chat here tonight if you're here live. But come and try it out. I'm just going to get my web browser up, but apologies if the screen goes black for a second. It might do. Bear with me. Oh, no, it hasn't. There you go. That was I hadn't prepared that this evening, and I thought it was going to go black, but it hasn't. So this is actonthis.tv. I'm going to recap on a feature. If you're going to preview features, if you're not a member, you can always watch the previews of what you've been missing out on. This was a session that we did last week. We do this every single week with the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, directors, producers in the TV industry. The biggest names, literally the biggest names. So last week we had on the director of Doctor Who, Stay Close, Brassic, The Stranger, an awesome guy called Daniel O'Hara, who everybody should know. And that's another thing in the acting industry. It's not all about casting directors, guys. If you are not, well up on your directors, your producers, your writers, everything down, your runners, first ADs, second ADs, all the people who make up the cogs in this massive machine, you are missing out on lots and lots and lots of opportunity by not networking and making these other people in the industry, not just casting directors, aware that you exist. So this was a 2-hour session that we did with Daniel, all about him as a director, working on these shows, getting on his casting radar, how he put the cast together for Brassic, all kind of behind the scenes stories about how he works with actors on set to get the best out of their performances, stuff in auditions. Ultimately, if you pop a pair of earphones in and listen to the replay or watch the replay, if you can sit and watch it, I know a lot of people are strapped for time, so I always just give you the audio only if you remember as well on the replays. Put in some earphones for 90 minutes, 2 hours this week. Catch up on that if you haven't. I promise you it'll be well worth it. I'm just going to play you a little mashup of, I've got it here. Yeah, I've got a video here of just a couple of minutes of how these sessions work, the kind of things we talked about on this session. And then I've got 3 videos, maybe 4, that I'm going to dive into just to sort of like make sure some of the points we talked about last week are hammered home in your head so that you are acting on all of the stuff we're talking about. It's why this community is called Act On This, not just watch this and sit at home and have a mulled wine now it's Christmas. Here's just 2 minutes of what you missed. One of my favourite TV directors, I'll say of all time, because he's here, bit of flattery. His credits include Doctor Who, Sky One smash hit comedy Brassic, worldwide Netflix sensation The Stranger, and another upcoming Harlan Coben Netflix drama, Stay Close, which is out this New Year's Eve 2022, New Year's Eve 2021 into 2022. It's Daniel O'Hara. Daniel, how are you? Loads of people are here tonight want to talk about Brassic. I mean, what a show this has turned out to be. Talk us through this and what it would be like for an actor, I guess, auditioning for Brassic now.
Talking about the naturalistic performances, I think that's what helped us ground it. Joe had come to the auditions for all the characters, so he sort of, and part of the audition process they would have read with Joe at a bit of a chemistry test.
Stranger's the next one I want to talk about. I had a little part in The Stranger, but what a show.
It's a character leading Richard Armitage to a location, and Richard said, I don't want to see the location first.
Oh wow.
So when we did the first take, the car pulls up and he's led. He doesn't know where he's going.
Next up, we just want to have a little chat about Doctor Who. For any actors who've got to do green screen stuff and things like that, give us some tips as a director, like how to nail it.
And I think that's what it is. I think you have to go, this is the world that we're in, the world of the show, and you got to buy into that. These things are real, and if you were in that world and you experienced that, then how would you react?
When you're auditioning people, do you use improv in auditions?
What kind of opportunities there are out there for South Asian actors?
How to stand out in procedural roles where you can't really be just yourself.
I think being naturalistic is probably the most important thing in those kind of parts, in those kind of shows. But you just gotta try and not let the nose chip away at your confidence. You gotta, just keep at it. Yeah, that's really it.
Boom, actonthis.tv if you want to unlock the full 2-hour session with Daniel, plus about what is in the members area now, guys. I don't know, maybe another 400 hours worth of the best acting career advice out there from the biggest names in the game. So if you want to hear literally from the casting directors you are probably dying to get in front of, the agents you are probably dying to sign with, the directors you really want to work with, the other actors whose careers you want to emulate, it's all there for you. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It literally is there for you. So you can see there, we talked about an awful lot. A lot of the shows that Daniel has worked on, he's literally for the last sort of 2 decades has been working at the very top of the industry. Stay Close, the drama that we mentioned in that trailer as well at the beginning, is a brand new drama by novelist Harlan Coben, one of the best novelists in the world. And he's had some huge Netflix shows already. The Five, Safe. The Stranger was like a worldwide smash hit, and Stay Close comes out this New Year's Eve 2021 going into 2022. Let me know in the chat. New Year's Eve, yeah? Always a massive anticlimax, yeah? Is it just me, or it's pointless? It's not pointless, but it's Christmas Eve miles better. Christmas Eve miles better. New Year's Eve going out, when you have such high hopes, it's like, oh my God, this is going to be the best night ever. Everyone's going to be there. And you just spend 5 hours at the bar when it's like 6 deep. I mean, this year, obviously with COVID and stuff, I don't know if that's even going to be a thing, but it's just never as good. And I remember one year I went out on New Year's Eve in a club, and I sent my mate to the bar at 12:05. By the time he got back, it was 12:05. I'd not even looked at my watch, and the DJ hadn't even done a countdown. It was already New Year. No one had mentioned it. It was like we paid 15 quid to get as well. The worst night out ever. So don't bother going out on New Year. Watch Stay Close. Swear to God, one of the best dramas that you will see in 2022. I was at the read through for episodes 7 and 8. I've no idea what happens in 1 to 6, but 7 and 8 were just explosive. I know how it all ends up, but I have no idea how it all begins. But yeah, watch that. And we're going to dive into some of the stuff that Daniel spoke about on that as well. So I'm just going to dive into the comments, because I think Jill just said she's got COVID and she's had to cancel the showreel scene. So sorry, Jill. I got pinged yesterday. I was at a funeral, unfortunately, last week, and there was a lot of people there. I think I'm the only one in the whole of Manchester who still wears a mask. Obviously, I wouldn't have missed the funeral for the world, but was a little bit concerned with lack of social distancing, and obviously I've been pinged today. I feel fine though. I've took a lateral flow. I'm all good. But Jill, I hope you get better soon, definitely. And it's a right shitter, isn't it? That it's meant you had to cancel the showreel scene. But you know what, Jill? Maybe it happened for a reason. Maybe it was going to be bad weather or something on your showreel scene, and now you can do it a different day. Or I don't know. I always like to look for some kind of positive reason why that might not have happened. Grace says it's not just me on New Year's Eve. She gets so hyped, then so deflated. It is, honestly. And you know what? When I was younger, I was living in denial, Grace. So I would just tell everybody like the next day, "Oh, last night was awesome." And it wasn't. It was rubbish. It was way more expensive than Christmas Eve, and Christmas Eve was so much nicer. And Richard said, the older you get, the more pointless it gets, mate. It's a bit like birthdays, Rich. I don't even bother with them anymore. So the first thing that I want to dive into from Daniel's chat, for those people who missed it, as I say, if you're not a member, you can get access to the full recording if you get a membership to Acts on This. The link is on your screen right now, actsonthis.tv/live as well, to see what else is coming up. We do a session every single week. I'm just going to play a little clip that I put together about how they cast Brassic. Anyone here want to be in Brassic on Sky One? Joe Gilgan stars in it, opposite, an incredible cast. People like Michelle Keegan. There's Steve Ebbets. There's just some wicked actors in there. The cast is strong. It's a mad, crazy-ass world, but it's played for real, and that kind of comes up in this clip about if you were ever going to audition for Brassic, how to sort of figure out the tone of the show before you go to the audition so you sort of know how to play comedy, because there's a danger with comedy if you don't understand the tone of the show, where you can play it up if it's not supposed to be played up, or you don't play it up if it's supposed to be played up. It's a real art form in itself, comedy. But let us know in the comments if you'd be up for a role on Brassic, and I'll play this little clip out about how Daniel and Joe and Danny Brocolis, who wrote the show, they kind of put the cast together. Just a little clip. We talk about it a lot more in depth in the main thing, but I just thought I'd put something together for tonight. Tom says Fiona Weir's considering him. Fiona Weir is the casting director for Brassic. Tom, fingers crossed, mate. Here's something then. Listen to this. This will help you bag the role if you do get the audition. Talk us through this and what it would be like for an actor, I guess, auditioning for Brassic now, and like how you guys put this whole cast together. As
mad as the stuff in the show is, we didn't want it to be, like a sitcom or like a, let's say it's not too out there, because it's pretty out there, but it's all about the naturalistic performances. I think that's what helped us ground it. In a way, if you believe these characters and you felt these were real people, then we could kind of take them anywhere. So in the audition process, we very much encourage people to be, okay, well, first of all, be themselves. There's a lot of times, because sometimes the accent was a bit of a thing. We did at times see people who were maybe trying too hard to give us an accent that was right for up there. And we thought, well, maybe we can let that go a bit. And now in the end, to be fair, it did need to be a sort of Lancashire sound, and that's what we went for. And definitely not playing the comedy for comedy. Definitely. That's
what I was just going to say. Did you find people did that in the audition? They made it slapstick, played right up to it. It wasn't as natural. Yeah,
sometimes, but that it wasn't a total surprise, because you read the script and you go, "This is a
mental,
outrageous mental comedy." So we just had to try and make sure we got that message out to people that we want you to play this straight, we want you to play this real, and that'll be, ultimately that'll be funnier. We thought, you see that in the show, Jim and Goldilocks next door, like going at each other, and it's ridiculous, but they're totally serious about it, it works.
Just a little clip of I was talking about Brassic, but yeah, obviously one of the biggest shows that Daniel's directed in the last few years has gone on. For what we're on now, I think series 4 is shooting. I reckon it's probably going to go for 6 seasons, maybe more. You know what, Danny and Joe, maybe they'll just keep writing it. I don't know, but I think to have something option for 6 is normally relatively standard if it's doing well. So fingers crossed. If you have not been in it yet, I was in series 1, got cut out of it, so I can go back in something else into series 4 or 5. We shall see. But an awesome show. I can see some people in the chat here said that they were background artists on it as well, and they had an awesome time. But I think with shows like Brassic that are so crazy, and it ties into a clip I'm going to play in a minute about just really believing in the world that you are in, Obviously, as an actor, it's really important. When something is so mad, like Brassic, I think, when the comedy is absolutely insane, where there's just ridiculous things happening, that you can just play up to it. You can try and over-egg it. And you see that sometimes. When you see that sometimes, when I see it, sometimes in theatre, when an actor knows which part of the script they're going to get a laugh in, because every night they've got a laugh at that particular moment, they feel so confident that they're going to get a laugh there. They begin, if you watch a show over multiple nights, it's only really when I've been in shows that I've noticed it. You can, and I've been tempted to do it, well, I've done this myself, you can begin to almost bathe in it and just, lift it up more, try and put it on a plate more for the audience. It was actually funnier when you were throwing it away, when it was more natural, as opposed to going, well, here's my big laugh, and you try and get a bigger laugh every night. I think you can fall into that trap. If you're not careful. And for stuff like Brassic, Danny was saying that's absolutely not what they wanted. They just wanted everything naturalistic. Like you said there about accents, still wanted you to be yourself, even if, how's your Lancashire accent, everyone? Obviously they decided they still needed that in the end, but it's not about trying to do a caricature of someone from Lancashire and, like a farmer in the summer. It's still about being yourself, putting the accent on, but, almost still being authentically you, which is pretty tricky. Because accents, I think, make you very much sort of, you're aware you're acting sometimes when you're putting an accent on. But just a really interesting little clip. If you want to watch more of, how they put Brassic together, some really clever stuff as well that they did before the read-through for Brassic as well, to make sure that the cast was really cohesive and really together. I've never really heard some of the stuff that Daniel did and the team did to bring the cast together. I've never really heard that happening on other shows. I'm sure it would be good if it did. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but go and watch the full thing in the members area if you if you weren't there on the night. Go and get that. And Angela, what you're saying here? You're saying something about you came to the industry later or something. Only started acting a few years ago. No experience. Would this go against me? Please stay on this broadcast until the end, Angela, because I'm going to play a clip out of something that we're doing tomorrow night with an incredible actor turned director who now directs Emmerdale and Coronation Street. And I want you to listen to what he says in the clip that I'm going to play out and what we're going to talk about tomorrow night, because ultimately the answer is no, it won't go against you. Obviously, you need to be good. You need to really know your shit. You need to know this industry. You need to understand how it works. You need to, have some kind of training. It doesn't have to be classically trained drama school training. But ultimately, no, if you are good and you are determined to put the work in, and it does require work and effort. And I feel these days as well, and this is probably controversial, but I feel that hard work is being demonized. I feel that it's almost kind of like being called out as toxic when people are like, oh, you shouldn't work hard these days. People are working all the hours under the sun and they're getting burnout. If you don't want to work, there's a difference. I guess I don't really like the term working smart, because I think people think that's a shortcut as well. But you can work hard in a smart way without cutting shortcuts and, sort of like trying to be clever. But I think if you're not prepared to work hard, like just in life, generally from my experience, I've only been on the planet 39 years, just prepare to never succeed. Like you will, every actor I know in this industry who has really succeeded has absolutely bled out their eyes for it. So no, you don't worry about like coming to it later with no training now. Just make sure what you do moving forward, you really go all in. And there's a real difference between, dabbling in this industry as a hobby, Angela, and just going, oh, it'd be nice to be an actor. So, I'll just have a little dabble around. I don't really believe in myself. I don't really believe I could star in a show. I don't really believe I could, be at the BAFTAs or the NTAs or whatever. There's a huge difference between the two mindsets there. And if it is a hobby, that's totally cool as well, because you don't have to, maybe you're just chilling out and you've got another career and you're like, this is just something fun that I do. That's cool as well. But if you really want to succeed, it doesn't matter what age you come to it or what training you've got, just go all in if you really want it. And you can have it. We had a great casting director on recently called Des Hamilton. He's one of only 2 BAFTA-winning casting directors in the whole TV industry. He cast things like Top Boy for Netflix. He did This Is England, lots of huge, huge shows. And he's very much about finding people who have had no experience. And that again can be controversial because you get a lot of actors who have trained and they've been to drama school and they spent money, myself included, I've done that. But I'm not going to call out anybody for landing a role over me because they didn't train. If they're just better than me for that role, then that's totally cool. I'm not going to go, you can't have it because you've not trained and I put all this effort in. It's just losing mentality. So So yeah, please don't let that be a limiting belief in your head. You know, when you're looking for work, don't use it as an excuse and like argue for your own limitations. Don't start any email with I haven't really done anything. Just start with you're very eager to start doing something as opposed to focusing on what you haven't done. The next clip I want to play. Oh yeah, this is nothing to do with Brassic, but it kind of ties into believing in that world. So what he was saying about Brassic is it's this massive, over-the-top, mad world, but they're looking for very naturalistic performances in it. And there's a lot of shows that Daniel has directed where that applies to, Doctor Who being one of them. And we were talking about, obviously there's nothing naturalistic in Doctor Who in terms of aliens chasing people in underwater fortresses and time travel and Daleks and all that kind of stuff. But obviously, as an actor, if you live in that world, you've got to really commit to it and you've got to really believe in it. And sometimes actors can get self-conscious around that, particularly if they're working on green screen and they can't even see what they're acting opposite. So it's like, here's a tennis ball, but you've got to pretend it's an alien chasing you down a corridor. That's really hard. Like, it just is. To pretend you're petrified when you've just got a tennis ball on a stick for your eye line, that's quite difficult. But this is just a little clip about forgetting what you look like, forgetting all those, inhibitions, and just actually committing to your work, because ultimately, it's your job. For any actors who've got to do green screen stuff and things like that, give us some tips as a director, like how to nail it.
You want to be authentic with whatever you're working with. I think it's that thing. It comes back to, it is make believe, and if you're playing a scene where the cop comes to the door and tells you your son is dead. Okay, you can find something realistic in that to link to. But if you're in an underwater base and a ghost is chasing you, you have to find some
truth within it.
Yeah. You have to buy into what you're doing. Again, one of the shows I did years ago, it was Being Human, which was great.
Yeah, brilliant.
It was, again, completely bonkers. A vampire, a ghost, and a werewolf live together. If anyone hasn't seen it, track it down. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a ghost, a vampire, and a werewolf live together and try and have a normal life. So it's hilarious and ridiculous at times, but also, they take it seriously in the right way. And I think that's what it is. I think you have to go, this is the world that we're in, the world of the show, and you got to buy into that. If you're doing Doctor Who and you think, well, that's just silly.
That's it. Yeah.
There wouldn't be how would a ghost alien, materialize in there? That wouldn't work, because you'd have to come from another. You're thinking too much. You just have to. That's again back to the Brassic thing. It's understanding the tone of the show and knowing where it sits, and you go, right, this show is in this world, and I fit in there, and these things are real. And if you were in that world and you experienced that, then how would you react?
actonthis.tv to unlock the full chat with Daniel. But yeah, it sounds simple, doesn't it? It sounds like, the most basic kind of advice, but I still see it trip people up all the time where they don't truly commit to it, and they end up either regretting that when they see it back, or they walk away from set feeling unfulfilled because they're like, you know what, I was self-conscious there, I should have just gone for it, I should have committed. I told a story in that broadcast of when I was at drama school and we did a charity performance at the NEC in Birmingham, and it was a bit ridiculous. We all had to dress as clowns. It was pretty embarrassing if you did not commit to it. We had to dress as these clowns like we were a circus, and we had to sing a song like Send in the Clowns, and it was really cringe, but it was for a brilliant cause. But it was at a black tie event, so there's loads of rich people in the Birmingham NEC having this beautiful dinner, and sort of everyone who owns companies was bidding on stuff, and we were like the little entertainment at half time. We had to run down the aisles of each of these tables while singing this song and in stupid outfits, pretending to play the trombone. I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous. I can still see the look in the guy's face, 15 years on, who I was next to his table. And I remember coming out of it for a split second, just realizing that if I don't fully commit to this performance, I'm going to look infinitely more stupid than I do if I commit. If I acknowledge how stupid I look and how seemingly embarrassing this could be, because none of us were really, digging it. We were like, can we do something a bit cooler? But you had to really commit to that world. We were in the circus. That was what we had to do, you know. And by doing that, you just fit in. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out for the wrong reason. The audience actually just buy it in the end and go, yeah, all right, that's fine. Here's a £5 charity donation. Thanks very much. But that was, you know, that was just a time in my life where that really sat with me, where it's like you have to commit to this world. If I go, well, actually, this is a bit stupid, yeah, and I'm sort of like looking in my eyes apologetically at the person I'm dancing in front of, it's just going to be ridiculous. So just commit, because I promise you, you will not regret it when you walk away. And when you see it back, if you're working on green screen, I've only done it a couple of times, and the masters at work in post-production put all the special effects in, and it's obviously designed to just make you look cool as hell. If you've committed to it, you will look even cooler, and people will just be like blown away, as opposed to going, yeah, I could kind of see in your eyes that you weren't looking at what was there. You know, you see that sometimes, don't you, where like something will jump from one thing to the other, like, and it's, you know, obviously it wasn't there in the actual in the real world, and it doesn't quite hit the mark when you see it, you know, with all the post-production stuff in there. So again, just a little interesting, you know, bit of insight from Daniel. I say he's worked on so much stuff. Going to look at preparation next for when you're working on set, and I guess it works for auditions as well. I'm just going to dive into the comments to see what's going on. Sarah says, I confirm I'm in drama school, but I really do feel I'm learning more from external courses and Acts on This. Yes. Is why I set up Act on This. I'll just be honest with you, and I'd say this to my drama school's face. They gave us one week of TV training in 3 years, and I really wanted to work in TV and film. So there was an awful lot of drama school for me that just wasn't relevant. Back in the day, thankfully, it only cost me about 15,000 quid. I think the same course today, because I did it many moons ago in the Victorian era, because I'm super old. It wasn't really, it was 2005, but I think it's about 45 grand now. And that's a lot of money. It should almost be illegal to leave young, well, basically still children, aren't you? You're still a child at 21. As much as I thought I was a grown-up, I wasn't, looking back. You can't leave kids in debt of 45 grand. You know, I know they can pay it back till like 60 or something like that, but still, it's pretty ludicrous. People look at universities and worship them like they're, oh, I'm so grateful you let me in, not realising they're just massive businesses. That's all they are. They're not doing you a favour at all. They're still churning out 2,500 actors a year onto the streets with absolutely zero idea of what they're doing, which is why I want to set up Act on This university, genuinely for people who are at drama school, and actually give them the business training that they need to turn what they're learning craft-wise at uni, which is generally very good, into work when they get out. Otherwise, there's no chance you're paying that 45 grand debt off. Sarah, I'd love to know how much your course is costing you, if you don't mind saying it in front of the world. I'm sure it's not embargoed information. It's probably in a prospectus somewhere. Tori said she'd love to be in Doctor Who. Alex, how you doing, mate? He says, more often than not, they'll chuck an actor in a green suit to work with now to be painted in post. Yeah. Not many tennis balls anymore. Acting down the lens to some Lumi tape on the edge of a matte box, however, day in, day out. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, when you can have... I've noticed there's quite a lot of people suited up. If there's vehicles involved and stuff like that, and they've got to move people around, I see that, them being able to manipulate whatever they're in. Say you're on a motorbike or something like that, and you'll have people actually in green suits pushing and turning, so you don't have to pretend you're flying around everywhere. You are actually, you know, getting that movement, which is obviously a lot more effective in the edit. Tony Rossi from the States, how you doing, mate? Lizzie's here. How you doing, Liz? God, loads of people are here tonight. And Sarah says it's, what's that? So it's 9 grand a year. So that's 27,000 quid if it's a 3-year course. Bloody hell. I should be charging that for an Act on This membership. Act on This.tv, a yearly membership will cost you 247 quid. And I swear to God, because I've been there, I've done it, and I'm a working actor myself, I will give you a better education, a 20 times better education for probably 100 times less than you're on the business side of this industry than you would ever get at any drama school in the country. I am so freaking confident of that. And if there's any drama schools watching, bring it on. Let me come in and talk to your students, because I promise you, I don't think, maybe it sounds really egotistical, but it's only because I've done this for 40,000 hours. I still don't see any drama school, when I do go in and visit, actually giving them practical, real business advice on actually turning their career their craft into a career and earning money. Yes, they'll teach them how to act, and that's great, but I still, even 15 years later, don't see people giving people relevant information to actually get a job and pay back that 27 grand when they graduate. So one of the last clips I'm going to play from this chat tonight with Daniel, just about preparation. And we always say, that cliche thing of fail to prepare, fail to prepare to fail. But I think sometimes I have over prepared, if I'm honest with you. So I might have been a bit rigid in the casting because I've really nailed down what I wanted to do. And this little segment here is just about preparing, but not over preparing. Being malleable enough to, know which parts of the script are the most important parts, and really preparing those and knowing what is flexible and being okay to change that on the day, whether that's in an audition or on set. So let's watch a little bit of this. What do you prefer? If an actor's super, super prepared, but maybe, I guess, maybe that can sort of put you in a lane, so to speak,
I think
more free.
I think there's also an element where an actor has to prepare and approach it in the way that works for them.
Yeah.
That's definitely, definitely a thing. And where you sort of need to be honest to your own way of doing it, but without going, this is how I'm doing it, whether you like it or not. And that doesn't work either. From my own point of view, I think it's the same. I sort of feel this about all the work, where I'll try and prep really, really well, have a, know it inside out, know exactly what we want. But, the amount of time something happens that throws that off, whether it's, you've got a plan for a scene and then it starts to rain, or you're running out of time, or, well, I don't know, a million things that happen. So I think if you're well prepared, you're then better equipped to roll with the punches a little bit, because if you're well prepped, what's important. Prep well, and then you're equipped for whatever is thrown at you.
Yeah, you can be
from an actor's point of view. Look, a director might throw something at you. Another actor might throw something at you. If you've got a scene with the lead actor might go, "Oh, well, I was thinking of doing this over here," and you coming in as a guest may have prepped it a different way. Again, focus on the things that are most important about it. What most important might not be most important that you stand by the window and shout the word banana. Like it might be okay to sit on the sofa and just
say it.
Just say banana.
Throw it away. Don't shout it. It's fine. No, I think you are right. Be decisive. It's the worst thing if you're umming and ahhing and you're not sure, and then takes are all different and stuff like that. It doesn't give the editor very much to work with.
Well, sometimes there's room to try it a different way, and that I think that's. But I think in general you sort of try and find. Well, certainly I try and find it. Yeah, be prepared and you're ready for what's thrown at you.
Once again, at onthis.tv, if you want to get access to the full chat with Daniel, plus a shed load of other chats with the biggest names in the game, and get access to the biggest names in the game every single week, including something very special that's coming up tomorrow night. Stay on this live if you want to find out what that is, because I genuinely think it will be a really, really special session. So, in fact, you know what? I'm going to go on to that now. I've got one more video, but I'll play it at the very, very, very end. Tomorrow night, who here is still looking for their first TV job? Or maybe not their first TV job, but their first job in serial drama. So we're talking shows like Emmerdale, like Coronation Street, Hollyoaks, Casualty, Doctors, EastEnders, those kind of shows. Sarah says, "Where's that's on the uni? Where do I sign up?" I'm genuinely thinking of putting a version of Acts on this together, which would ultimately just be features that we've recorded in a set order. Sarah or Sarah, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. That people can go through to really just give them a real grounding in the industry, like whilst they're at uni. That's the other thing as well. It's kind of like actors at drama school, they don't want to learn about all this stuff until they've left. And I'm like, you're making a massive mistake. If you can spend the last year of your course really, making sure casting directors in TV know who you are. You're not going to have loads of stuff to show them. You're maybe not even going to be able to actually audition for them, but you can still build rapport via email, via social media. Send them self-tapes, things that you're doing. Let them know if you've signed with an agent, etc., etc. if you do that in your final year, you will be so far ahead of everybody else because everyone else leaves it until they have left. Like, you know, and again, I'm talking from experience and I see it all the time. And it just means that 2,500 graduates who are literally clueless leave drama school every year. If you are in the 100 who have actually put the work in that final year to actually understand how the industry works, you will fly and not spend the first 4 years, as I did, banging your head against a brick wall. So I'm going to definitely put something together. But yeah, let us know if you are in the market for your first role. Melissa says me. Joe says me. Joe, I noticed you got the commercial casting, though. Fingers crossed for that one for you. Liz, it astounds me. It's literally beggars belief how you have not got, I know you've done commercials, but you've not got a serial drama credit yet. Literally baffles me. I don't know what you're doing, Liz. We need to figure this out because I think I could probably get you rolling in about 2 weeks. You so should be doing it. Tori says me as well. Nick's looking for the first job in serial drama. Kate says there. Grace says she's been trying for 6 years. Grace, come on. Right, we can figure this out. So, tomorrow night, I've got an incredible guest coming on. I've wanted to get on for a while, but I've seen him doing loads of his own stuff, and I've been like, he's probably a bit too busy to get involved. A great actor, recently turned director. I think he's the only person that I know in the industry who has been a regular actor, has had a regular role, like a lead, regular recurring role, a big role in both Coronation Street and Emmerdale, and has then gone on to direct both shows as well. I don't think, let me know if you know of anyone else. Has anybody else done it? I don't think they have. To actually have, a recurring regular role, so a big role, and then go on to direct both shows. I don't think there is anyone else. But Rhys Dinsdale is our guest tomorrow night, and he has done it. He's one of the nicest guys you'll meet in TV, without a doubt. He's all about giving back, and he is absolutely on the lookout for people when he's directing Emmerdale and Coronation Street again to give that break to. And he's given 3 members of Acts on This in the last 3 months their first roles in Emmerdale. He mentions that in this trailer here. And basically tomorrow night we're going to be breaking down exactly how Rhys works, exactly how you can get onto his casting radar, how you can get your show reel in front of him, what he needs from you at auditions, what he needs from you on set, if you want to work with him again. Ultimately, just sort of, again, build rapport with this guy so he knows you exist, he knows you are good, so that you can, stand the very, very best chance of landing that first role in serial drama. Emmerdale was my first job ever. I only had about 6 lines. I think I was a barman in a casino. But it was brilliant. And then I've been back many times. Coronation Street, I've been back a few times. Hollyoaks, I've been back loads. Casualty, I've done. Doctors, I've done a few times. I've never done EastEnders. So maybe I should get the Cockney accent on and do a bit of that. But it all comes down to widening your network with other people in the industry who are not just the casting directors, because for the day player roles, it's the director who decides really who gets the role. The casting director will suggest people and bring them in, but I know so many directors, Mickey Jones does this all the time as well, who will just invite actors in who he knows and likes, and he will just give them a shot at an audition because he really wants them to get the role because he knows them and he likes them. So you need to really be focusing again on making friends and having conversations in the industry with everybody, not just promoting yourself, via cold email to casting directors. But this is happening tomorrow night. Please watch this all the way through because it's going to be a great one. Like I say, this is in itself is worth getting a membership for. Actors, are you looking to land roles in TV serial drama? Shows like the mighty Emmerdale or Coronation Street, for example? If so, I've got an invite for you that you cannot refuse to our next actonthis.tv live mastermind session. It's taking place on Zoom on Tuesday, the 16th of November at 7:30 p.m. with this absolute legend here. He's a top TV actor who's been a regular in both Emmerdale and Corrie, and now he's behind the camera directing these shows. It's Mr. Rhys Dinsdale. Rhys, thank you so much for joining us, mate. What are we going to be discussing on Tuesday night?
Well, I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be my pleasure. We're going to talk a bit about my career, both in front of the camera and behind the camera, and how passionate I am to help other people these days, whether they be seasoned pros, but certainly if they're just people who have not really got started in the profession yet, giving them a chance to do some work professionally.
Yeah, I love it. Don't get hung up on this whole, I've not done loads of stuff, I'm never going to get an opportunity. Rhys is your man to give you an opportunity if you are new to this industry and you are good. If you want to get involved in this, you want to jump on camera, literally get an opportunity to have a one-to-one with me and Rhys, talk about anything to do with your career, acting, auditioning, your show reels, self-tapes, just anything at all, getting a break in this industry. Get yourself over right now to actonthis.tv/live for full details of how you can join this session and sessions like this every single week with the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, producers in the business. The best people, basically, Rhys. actonthis.tv/live for details. And to finish, a little bit of pressure. I ask everybody this, Rhys, on these trailers. Why don't actors want to miss this session in particular?
Ooh, well, they don't want to miss this session because, believe you me, as I said, I'm passionate about giving people a chance. In fact, on Emmerdale recently, I've just given 3 actors who are not very seasoned parts in Emmerdale. So who knows? It might be your lucky night.
No way. It could be you. Be there. actonthis.tv/live. actonthis.tv/live. Go get a membership. It could be your lucky night. It could be you. On those sessions as well, not everybody, because there's going to be, a couple of hundred actors probably tuning in tomorrow night, but we will give some people at random an opportunity to jump on camera, have a little one-to-one with Rhys as well, have a little chat. But you will just get all the information you need from Rhys to go away and act on it. That's why it's called Act on This. So that people like Rhys do know you exist. There's a few people in the chat saying, well, do I just write to directors as opposed to casting directors? You've got to live in an and world in the acting industry. You do both. The more, ultimately, just look at it like this. Don't overthink it. The more conversations you can have with people in this industry, the more opportunity will come to you. And that's just been, it's how my career is completely, and my life is completely sort of, panned out in terms of I've always just gone, what value can I bring to everybody I meet? What conversations can I have with people? How can I meet as many new people as possible? And you don't know what rooms you end up in. Today I was at a read-through. I do a lot of read-throughs that I get invited to purely through so much networking over the years, and offering value to people. There's a really incredible producer that I've become friends with, often get invited to read-throughs. And today I was on Zoom with an incredible cast. I'm not in it, unfortunately, but for the first episode of a new drama that's coming out, there's some wicked names in that. Adrian Dunbar is in it. I won't say any other names, so it doesn't give anything away. But it wasn't Line of Duty, by the way. But, I'm like, God, I'm on a Zoom call with all these massive actors. And then that leads to me then being able to reach out to them, just to build rapport, which then down the line, 6 months down the line, might have turned into something else. And then that means that maybe we become friends and I get them on actonthis.tv and, maybe they need some help from me that I can give them. And then you guys, you just don't know where these conversations ultimately are going to lead. But the more conversation you can have, just the one thing that I would never recommend anybody does in this industry is just look at anything as transactional. So if you're like, right, I'm going to target this casting director because I want this thing, or it's almost like it's a transaction. I'll give you this if you give me this. The more open you can be to just meeting everybody, giving value to everybody, just across the board in life as well. And you might not think you have things to offer people, but even if you have, say you reach out to an independent filmmaker and you're like, well, I don't have any experience on a set. I can't do lighting. I've never worked a camera. You have time. Ultimately, and time, as you know, is without a doubt our greatest commodity. So just to be able to offer someone, say, listen, I know you're shooting this short film. I'm not asking for a part in it, but I just want to get more experience on set. I'll give you 6 hours of my time on Sunday. What can I do for you? How can I make that shoot easier for you? And then you go down to the shoot. Yes, you're doing something for free for 6 hours, but you'll probably just spend it at home watching Netflix if you didn't. And then you'll meet people on set. You'll meet the actors. You'll meet the director of photography. You'll meet the scriptwriter maybe. You might make friends. You start collaborating. Always, Sarah and everyone in it, just it's got to be an and world. It's not like, do I just write to these people or these people? It's both. And you've got to look at everything like that as well. There's a phenomenon around decision making, which is the prison of two decisions, basically, where people think, oh, okay, it's this or it's that. Actually, there's probably 99 other versions of that. You could break it out to anything in life. I don't know. God, do I get a divorce or I don't? Well, they're just two decisions. People get stuck in that prison of one of two things. It's like, well, actually, in the middle of those things, there's maybe another 60 alternatives. What are they? You know, it's and maybe there's multiple. You know, you can implement multiple things. So it's never just about one or the other. It's about many different things, and potentially all of them as well. But definitely start getting on directors' radars. You know, anyway, because it is really really important. Oh, it was Melissa who was saying that instead of casting directors and directors. But you were saying there, Sarah, about emailing casting directors for the first time for introductions. Without an agent or spotlight at the moment. Yeah, I mean, just with truth and honesty. Literally that. Hey, I'm in my final year at drama school. I'm looking to sign with an agent. When I graduate, I'm obviously going to be on Spotlight. If your course gets you on Spotlight, if you're paying $9,000 a year, it better bloody add. You know, just wanted to make you know, an introduction. Just wanted to make you aware that I exist. Would it be cool if I drop you an email closer to one of my shows that I'm doing? You know, would be great to you know, to just, you know, start getting, you know, to know you ultimately. Casting directors are just human. Don't make it all business-like and dear sir, madam bullshit. Just write like you wrote that Facebook comment there. You know, just write nice, normal, human language, and it'll resonate with people. Right, okay, so there's lots of people looking forward to Rhys's session tomorrow night. Zoe's excited for it. Sarah says, looking forward to this. Rhys is brilliant. I love Rhys's Twitter feed, says Tori. He's just a top bloke, and he genuinely means that when he's like, I want to give back. And he is giving people already, you know, people in this community. Kerry, I don't know if you're watching this, but, you know, she's just done a job with him on, she's in the Acts on This community, just done a job with Rhys on Emmerdale very recently. He is all about giving people that first break. So it's going to be an absolutely cracking session. So I'll just head over to the website. If I head back to the, just click this purple bar at the top, actually. I need to update the schedule. I've got six things booked in between now and Christmas. There's only one of them. There's only Rhys's session on here at the moment. This is actonthis.tv/live. Sorry for those people on the audio experience. You won't be able to see this, but go to actonthis.tv/live. You can see the schedule. So this is happening in 21 hours, 39 minutes and 32 seconds with Rhys, but I will update this. Yeah, we've got 6 sessions left. The last session will be a pre-recorded session this year. It's going to go out on the 23rd of December. I didn't think people would want to join me for a live session on the night before Christmas Eve. You're probably drinking mulled wine and having some mince pies, but we are going to record a final year wrap-up that week. Me and Petch, producer Petch, will be sitting down to record a podcast. So it's not going to be a Zoom session. It'll be a video podcast. You'll get the audio as well, but we're going to sum up the entirety of 2021, and we might even phone some members of actonthis.tv at random and have a little phone-in show during that podcast as well. So I'll send everyone who's a member an email. If you want to get involved in that, obviously reply, and we'll need your mobile number. It's not my tactic to just get people's numbers. It's not that at all. But if you want to get involved in that, I think that's always quite fun when we do a little phone in. So we've got what have we got? We've got 9 minutes left. I've got one more video to play out at the end, so we've probably got like 6 minutes left to do a little bit of Q&A if you want. If anybody's got anything, any burning questions, put them in the comments here on Facebook. Hopefully you found this useful tonight. But yeah, if you're not a member of this community, please come and give it a go. Like, honest to God, you know, for what, it's £6 a week. You know, you get 7 sessions a month for 24 quid. It's roughly £3 a session with the biggest names in the game. And I see people every week charging actors 25 quid for one. So I want to put all those people to shame, bring you bigger, better guests who offer more value for a tenth of the price. You know, if you are spending £6 on a coffee and a piece of cake at Starbucks with your eggnog latte or whatever it is, forgo that, put it into your career, give this community a chance for 4 weeks. You get a 4-week membership for 24 quid. You can cancel it if you want, but I promise you, you won't want to. The first thing that people always say to me when they join is, why did I not do this sooner? Oh my God, how did I not discover this sooner? So just do yourself a favor. Angela says, love your show, Ross. Thanks for answering my questions. Pleasure, Angela. And if you can join us tomorrow night, Angela, honestly, you know, come and listen to Rhys. Because any of those fears you have about, you know, not being trained and all this sort of stuff, or, you know, just, you know, not having that much experience yet, we just want you to delete those files from your brain. You know, there's a lot of opportunity in this industry for those people who are prepared to work hard. It's a slog, without a doubt. God, it is. And you've got to develop an awful lot of tenacity and Perseverance, stamina to keep going after the rejection, after the rejection, after the rejection. But you just fall in love with the process. Like, I just don't think I could ever walk away from this industry, which is so bizarre because sometimes I'm like, oh God, life would be so much easier if I just worked in an office. But I'd just be sad. I heard a quote today that was well, it's not a quote, but someone talking. It was Jimmy Carr, actually, the comedian. He was talking. It was a brilliant chat. And he said, how much would I have to... Let me know, actually, in the chat. How much would I have to offer you to give up all of your hopes and dreams and aspirations? Genuine question. How much would I have to pay you? This goes out to everyone in the chat here. I can see Grace, Angela, Anna, Joe, Gary, Tom, Alex, Zoe, Tori, Sarah. Won't let me go any higher than that. Jane. How much would I have to pay you for you to give up on everything you want from life? Genuine question. How much would you want? To give up on your dreams, to stop chasing things that you wanted, to maybe stop believing in yourself. How much would you want in order to do that? Let me see the comments coming through. Because what Jimmy said was really, really hit home. So Melissa says no amount of money would be enough. I'd never give up my... Okay, well, that's good. That's good. But I bet there's some people who will be like, 1,000... Not 1,000. No, that'd be ridiculous. Like, 100,000, 1 million, 2 million, 10 million. Alex says, what would be the effing point? Enough to be comfortable for the rest of my life, says Angela. What he said really hit home with me because it's really true. Everyone's saying no amount of money, no amount of money, no amount of money. But he said when he left university, he saw all of his friends basically do that for around about 35 grand a year. And they went into jobs they didn't really like to be able to afford things that they didn't really want or need to impress people that they didn't even really like. Because that's life and that's what most people do. They go to they're not drama school, they go to, university or whatever, and they just jump into a job that gives them security, but they probably don't like it. It's a 9-to-5 office job that robs them of any enthusiasm they have for life or setting up their own business or pursuing their artistic endeavors, creative endeavors. And they go, well, yeah, you know what, it's 35 grand a year, so I can afford the down payments on this white BMW that'll make me feel a little bit better about my life, but the car will actually own me. I'll never own it because as long as I have to pay the down payments on the car, I'll have to stay in this office job. I can't go and actually pursue my dreams because I've got this £800 a month payment on this car and I can't afford it unless I stay in this 35 grand a year job that I just have to do because that's what everybody does. And it just really hit home with me. I thought, fuck, I know so many people who have done that. And I didn't do that, but I felt behind for 10 years of my life. Honestly, I so doubted my choices over the years, where I was like, I am working for minimum wage in a toy shop, a computer game shop, pursuing an acting career. All of my friends were on the £40,000, graduate jobs. They could afford all the fancy drinks and cars and this, that, and the other. And I was there living at home at my mum's house at like 30 years old with nothing, going, fuck, like, where did this all go wrong? But the hustle and the work after nearly 15 years hit a tipping point, and then the work just begot work, which begot work, which begot work. Voiceover was a huge change in my life. And then what ends up happening is, you feel behind for 10 years, 12 years, and then there becomes a moment and a period of just 6 months where you leapfrog everyone. And it feels so good because you're like, oh my God, I knew if I just believed for long enough, even though like everything in me was at times going, don't do this, what you're doing. I was so glad that I did not basically, sell all of my hopes and dreams for 35 grand a year, because it would have been very, very tempting to do that at certain times of my life where I just felt inadequate and like behind. I was like, oh my God, he's bought a house now and they've got married. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have anything. And now I do, and it feels amazing, but it just takes a lot of work. But yeah, just maybe that resonates with you as well. And the great thing is your past does not dictate your future. So maybe you have sold your hopes and dreams for a 50 grand a year job and you're not very happy right now. And it might scare you dropping down from 50k to 30k because you might have to cut back on a few things or downsize or something like that. But I know a lot of people who have been a lot happier by doing that than they are with the extra holiday a year and business class flights to the Maldives once a year, because that's the only week where they're actually happy, when they're on holiday. Like, so just have a think. But yeah, I thought, bloody hell, you know what, Jimmy Carr, seriously, I know he just seems like this funny guy on TV. He's a genius. He is such a self-aware, clever guy. There's a podcast that came out today called The Diary of a CEO. A guy called Stephen Bartlett does that podcast, and just go and listen to the Jimmy Carr episode. It will blow your mind. He's the guy who, in that interview, that you didn't think would be Jimmy Carr, but he's the guy who, like, you need to hear from. Such an incredible interview. Alex says, what scares me personally is having a kid and raising a family whilst getting to the level of security that I would wish for, getting close. There's a thing as well, you know, it's like the level of security you would wish for. It's freaking hard, isn't it? Because for me, every time I've got to that level, there's been another level. And I've been a little bit like, ooh, I remember when I had nothing in the bank, Alex, like nothing. You know, today I've got some really decent savings. But when I had nothing, I'd have dreamt that, I'll take all the risks in the world when I've got that amount of savings in the bank. And still I find myself now going, keep hold of those. Why don't we make that again and then we take the risks? Because I want to start funding some films now. Having some meetings with people, and I want to start investing in films. And there's still a bit of trepidation behind that, because I'm like, oh God, like, it's obviously a bit of a risk. Whereas before I had any of this money, I'd have been like, if I just got that, I'd definitely invest in films. So it's that level in it that you get to where there's always like another horizon. You reach that horizon and then you see another horizon. There's another horizon, another horizon. So sometimes, you just got to kind of go for it, mate. But good luck, dude. Hopefully, you'll get to that point where you feel secure. Zoe says, I gave up acting after getting an acting degree to work in an office. I'm sick of life now after 12-ish years and want acting back. Zoe, come back. It's a great, beautiful thing though, isn't it? Because like, it's never too late. You can work in this industry forever, like until the day you die at 105 years old. Hopefully you'll have made millions by then and you won't want to work from 100. You can have 5 years off from 100 to 105. But that's, but what a great realization though. You know what, Zoe? Some people never realize that. And then they get to 92, they don't have the mobility to chase their dreams anymore, and then they go, fuck, I really regret that I just missed out on this one shot that I had. I was at a friend's funeral last Wednesday. He was 39. Just, again, one of the biggest jolts of self-awareness that you can have when you're at an event like that. And I was sat in a pew in the church, and I swear to God, life became so very simple. I can still picture it in my head. As I was hearing one of my best mates, Eddie, he unfortunately passed away a couple of weeks ago, and his brother John was doing a absolutely beautiful eulogy. Such an amazing speech. I was in awe, really. But it just made life so simple, literally birth and death. And I remember speaking to Eddie and all these dreams and things that he had, and we chat about stuff. And he had a family and 3 kids, which obviously is devastating. But all of those things that he was going to do, he never got to do. And it wasn't because he didn't chase anything like that. He's a bloody hard-working guy. But I'm sure there were some things that he probably could have done that he wasn't doing because of that security and, and effectively, the slight complacency we all have. And it just made me think, God, am I doing everything? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing all of the things that I thought I should do. I'm not taking enough risks. For fear of what? I don't know, because I'm going to die anyway. So what's the point? It doesn't matter. We're all going out in a box, and it's awful when you see it, but it also makes life very, very straightforward and simple. So after 12 years, Zoe, come on, get yourself back in the game. If you're not a member of the site, freaking get on it. Alex says, put it in Bitcoin, Ross. I've got a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum, Alex. That's why the savings have gone up recently. So I'm pretty good on that score at the moment. Joanne says she's retrained, having worked for the civil service, was lucky to work as an admin in a co-op. I ran a drama school and now back at acting. Nothing is ever wasted. No, that's a thing as well, and everything. And thank you, Margaret, for saying sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for yours as well. I know you've had a rough time of it yourself recently. Nothing is ever wasted, because every experience you've had in your life can be put into your career. So, there's nothing wasted at all. It will unlock, whether you have great times, emotional times, hard times, it'll give you that emotional unlock that you can put into your work as an actor that you wouldn't have after, if you were just, guessing at what that would feel like. And there's some things you'll be put into situations in your career where you can't possibly relate to it. But there'll be a lot of situations where you really can, through some of the hard times that you faced, and you can really authentically bring that emotion to your performance. So yeah, nothing is wasted. And it's funny, Emma says, what did you say there, Emma? Cheerful Monday, guys. Emma has been so cheerful until now. Just got a bit real at the end. But hopefully it's not sad talk. It's life, innit? Life ends in death. And it's what you do between those two points of being born and leaving this earth that really matter. But hopefully, maybe there's someone out there who's realised that they had sold all their hopes, dreams, and aspirations for a 35 grand a year office job, and now they're like, "Fuck, I'm not going to do that anymore. I've got 60 years of my life left. Let's go." So, and don't ever think it's too late either. Don't think, of the time that's passed. Just think about, the person you want to be tomorrow. Moving forward, if you've got 60 years on the planet, let's say you're 40 like me, and I'm like, I'm going to get to 100. I'm not going to look at the 40 years that have just gone by. I'm going to go, right, I've got 60 years. I'm starting again. Boom. I've been born today, 60 years. That's like 1.5 times as long as I've already been on this planet, which feels like for a long time. Let's go. If you're 90, 10 years, come on, let's go. You've got 10 years. What are you going to do with it? So yeah, it is cheerful. Cheerful, Emma. I'm trying not to be bad. And down there, Natalie's trying to extricate herself from a full-time teaching to come back to acting. Little steps at a time, Nat. Yeah, absolutely. Go for that, though. Teaching's probably a secure job, innit, I imagine. You know where you stand. You're getting your holidays. You know you can have 6 weeks off. I bet there's a little bit of like, oh, this is pretty cushy. Although, it depends on the kid you're teaching. If they're little shits, then it's probably not as cushy as it could be. But, yeah, again, take some risks. The great thing is you can always go back to it. That's the other thing to remember. If you're in a hole now, that's what I realised when I was working in that shop. Like, I was like, you know what? If I leave, and I did, and it all goes wrong in 3 months, I can just get another shit job. There's loads out there. I know, unemployment is probably an issue at the moment and stuff, but there's still loads of shit jobs. If you're not in a great job right now, you can probably walk into any major shopping centre. I worked at the Trafford Centre around here for 11 years. I could have probably walked into any shop and got a job for minimum wage. Like, if you're prepared to just, do a minimum wage job, if it all goes to shit, you're not really risking anything massive. Unless, like Alex says, maybe you've got 5 kids and you're like, okay, I can't do that. I understand that. But yeah, and Sean says he loves it that we're all going to make it to 100 years old. Sean, I don't even doubt it, mate. I don't know what it is. I've always just been like, yeah, 100, innit? That's what I'm getting to. So maybe I'm just like convincing my cells in my body I'm going to be the big 4-0 next year. So I'm like, it's all good. Got to get through that again and half again, and I'll have achieved my main aim. Honestly, that is my major goal. Forget acting. My main aim in life is to hit 100 years old. I really mean that. Like, genuinely, that really is my ultimate goal. Because I want a telegram from Kate Middleton. She can pop round for some tea. I probably won't fancy her as much when I'm 100 and she's 100 though. Right, gonna love you and leave you guys. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm going to play one more clip from this session with Dan O'Hara that we had last week, which is on, what is it on? Oh, it's on day player roles and just sort of self-tapes. You know those roles you get where you're like, I'm going to be a copper and I say 2 lines and I don't really know how to play it to stand out. It was a question someone asked, Leah Baskaran asked on this session last week. And you just watch it hear Daniel's answer. Sometimes we just don't have to overthink those parts. But please come and join us tomorrow night. actonthis.tv. If you want to join us for this session with Rhys Dinsdale, I swear to God, it will be an absolutely cracking session. You never know. From it, you're going to find out how to get in touch with Rhys, get your show reel in front of him. You never know where that could lead. He genuinely is such a good guy. He's always on the lookout for giving actors their first roles. Even when they've done very little. So actonthis.tv/live. Get your membership. Just try it out. Come and join the community. I swear to God, it'll be the best thing that you do for your career. So I'm going to play this clip now on day player roles. And I will see you tomorrow night at 7:30. Anna just said she's bought 4 grey wigs to make herself look older. But there's older castings coming up. I'm planning a long career. Yes, Anna, absolutely. You too will get to 100 years old with me. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll be back next Monday for another one of these free broadcasts. Come and get involved in the community. Just just be a part of all this. Like, we've got such a great bunch of actors, you know, who are all supportive of each other. I swear to God, it's what you need in your life. So I'll see you tomorrow night. Until then, love to you all. Bye for now.
How to stand out in procedural roles where you can't really be just yourself because you can't put too much of your personality in it, because you're just carrying the storyline along. How do you like bring a little bit to it to stand out but not do too much, so it's obviously not naturalistic anymore?
Yeah, it is. It is difficult because the part doesn't always allow you to, you know, it's like, well, what do I do with this? You know, she's over here, sir. You know, you know, it is difficult. I think being naturalistic is probably the most important thing in those kind of parts and those kind of shows. It's hard, I guess, when you're going for auditions and not getting them. I would say try and get feedback from the casting director, because if you think you're doing something wrong, you might not be doing something wrong. The reason you might not be getting part, there could be it could be, oh, well, we wanted someone tall there, we wanted someone short there, we wanted someone, you know. If you feel you don't really know why you didn't get it, I think it's worth following up with casting directors. I think casting directors like actors, you know, they do. Casting directors are supportive of actors, and I think it's worth building those relationships, because they'll get you seen for you know, better things. But they'll also give you feedback. You know, you might not always get feedback from a producer or a director, but a casting director can say, well, you know, they might, even if the feedback is your tape was really good, it just went the other way, at least you can not beat yourself up about it. The other thing, though, that does happen is when you're, certainly my experience, when you're casting for those smaller roles, and you know, you might go, oh, she read for the nurse, you didn't get it, but remember that girl who read for the nurse, she was really good, let's get her to read for the receptionist, you know. And I know it's still those kind of parts, but that definitely happens, you know. Just, you know, being in the mix, just stay in the mix.